Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Kata and I'm sharing some thoughts today for the new moon that we have in Cancer today. Highly emotional sign. So this Cancer new moon today, the energy that it brings is definitely one that is asking us to move from our headspace into our hearts and really connect with the energy of our heart space and really connect with our feelings and really connect with our emotions and just being present for them, feeling them. You know, it's Cancer is a water sign, and water signs definitely rule the emotions, right? Um, and I feel it. I feel the intensity of this new moon. I felt it yesterday. I was feeling extremely emotional the last couple of days, so I know that's all because of the energy that's already felt. We usually feel full moon and new moon energies days in advance before the actual event happens. So, with that being said, I've been already on an emotional roller coaster. As a matter of fact, I felt like almost ill on the day that we transitioned into Cancer, so June 21st on the solstice, the summer solstice. I felt absolutely like shite. I was just completely drained, like totally feeling exhausted and drained. And I think that has been kind of playing out, like unraveling itself in the last few days for me, as we have been approaching this new moon today. Um, I'll be honest, I don't feel super like woohoo today either, um, but I'm just rolling with it. I'm trying to. What I noticed the most, what I had clarity about the most this morning, was how much I try to control my emotions and how much I am like adamant about pushing away heavier or darker emotions and having a harder time embracing positive emotions. It's weird. It's a weird process that I'm going through. It's complete self observation, it's complete self awareness, I believe, that is happening. There's this like transition where I'm going from being asleep and being numb and being unaware of most of my feelings because I was so awesome at shutting them down, to now transitioning into having to feel those feelings and sit with them and have compassion for them and understand them and have compassion for myself when it comes to, you know, my own sadness or my own anger or any feelings of guilt or anything like that. Mind you, guilt has been truly a feeling that has been leaving my life in the last few months. Like this year, particularly, I felt a big shift around guilt um, in my awareness and how and why I felt guilt in the past and how I would like to transition out and not feel that. And I've been doing a really good job, in my opinion, because I really feel the difference. I don't feel triggered the same way that I used to. I don't have any feelings of guilt coming up when I'm not able to show up for someone. It's just not there because what replaced the guilt is self love. And so I'm realizing today with this new moon, it's just like a lot of realizations. More than anything, that's what I think people should really pay attention to. It's just how are you actually feeling about yourself, about your life, about your partner, about your kids, about your job, your health, your X, Y, and Z. Like, how are you actually feeling about all of these things? And I think it's important to be honest. I don't try to like pretend anymore. I don't try to like convince myself that like, oh no, I'm okay with this when really I'm not, right? I just don't do that anymore. And I believe that is definitely another sign for me about how much I've grown in terms of my own self love and how much I've cultivated my own self love. Like, I just don't have the same tolerance level, I don't have the same acceptance for situations, for people. It's just really shifted. It's really changed. And today in particular, I feel sad. I'll be honest. I have a tremendous amount of sadness within that I can feel. That's just, I'm kind of like holding it at bay, and I don't know why. I've I think it's a coping mechanism that I learned as a kid. Like, you just don't really cry, you don't really express your feelings, because I don't think that was really okay when I was a child, to express your feelings. So I just kind of learned to not, and that's tough. That's extremely, extremely tough, actually, because during that constant suppression, and what you're doing is you're judging those feelings. Like, you're not allowing yourself to feel them. I know I was not allowing myself to feel them, for sure. If I felt, any emotion that was not a positive one, I would immediately be hard on myself, and I would immediately try to force myself out of that feeling, and convince myself that that was wrong, and that I'm not supposed to feel that, and there must be something wrong with me because I'm feeling that. um, so there's just, feelings were not valid, like, in my household. So, you know the adults were allowed to feel, but the kids certainly were not. It was just very fucked up. So, knowing that, and really reflecting back, um, on that today, and it's weird, like, a lot of old shit is coming up for me today, and I think it's because we are in this Cancer new moon, and it's like this new beginning when it comes to our emotions and our feelings and our entire, like, emotional body, because the moon very much influences our energy systems, right? It very much has an effect on our emotions, like, huge, right? We always say, and people know, it's like common knowledge that, the crazies come out at full moon. Why do we say that? Because we know that, the energy is so much more heightened. A lot of people react really, like, weird to it, right? So new moon is the same thing. It's like the energy is so heightened, but it's bringing out a different aspect, within us, because the moon, when it's a new moon, it's completely invisible to us, which means that these are those hidden deep emotions, actually, that are needing to come to the surface now, needing to be seen, needing to be looked at and cared for, and needing to be allowed just to feel them. Because in my world, that was just not okay for a really long time. It was just not really allowed. And it was something that I didn't allow myself. Just from my upbringing, it's what I believed. And like I said, as I'm going through this transition in my life, and as I'm transforming my life and becoming, a brand new person, because it's exactly what's happening, I'm realizing that in the process, I'm just totally, totally, like, my emotional world is totally shifting. It's totally changing, and how I respond to things, with my feelings, has completely shifted and changed. It's just not the same. I just don't respond the same. So at the end of the day, I really feel like I've come a long way, and I think today might be a good day for you to assess where you're at. Something I'm going to do, very soon, is, just basically write out, like, a list of all of the things that I have accomplished so far, all of the things that I have gained in my life, because it can get very tiring and very exhausting to always be looking at the dark shit. And I've been personally going through a dark night of the soul for the last about 2 years, approximately, yeah. Started more intensely about 18 months ago. Definitely going through that. And I feel, actually, this Cancer new moon has, or is, giving the opportunity for me to actually step out of this dark night of the soul, phase, and to really look back at the amount of progress that I've made in the last 18 to 24 months. Also, to look at how far I've come, like, in terms of my emotional growth, how far I've come spiritually, how far I've come, just mentally, like, really recognizing the maturity, that I have gained from experiencing this dark night of the soul. And that's really what it's all about, guys. Like, don't think for a second that healing is a process that you can just kind of go through and it's just going to be a fucking picnic. It it isn't. It is not. And a dark night of the soul really truly can last from days to weeks to months to years. So it's not it's not a walk in the park. It's not been a fun time for me in the last couple of years, we'll say. It really hasn't. I feel very blessed, however. I feel very, very blessed to have had this time actually to be alone and to really nurture my own inner world for a change, because I spent, I think, the first 30 years of my life, like like a good portion of my life so far, I've spent giving to others and always nurturing others and always making sure that other people were okay and that their feelings were managed and taken care of, and they were feeling comfortable and this and that. And the last 2 years has taught me, like I said, as I entered this dark night of the soul period, has taught me that now it's time to pour all of that energy into myself. Everything that I've been giving to others, in every which way that I've been supporting others, it is now time for me to support myself that way. And I mentioned in yesterday's video that, a lot of people won't be okay with that. People that were used to you giving all of your energy to them aren't going to be okay with that, because they're like, well, shit, now I got to figure out where to get that extra energy from, because before I would just kind of pull it from this person, right? Just by hanging around with them, I'd get that lift. But now that I'm not just willingly giving that lift to people, not without exchange, not without proper exchange, it just isn't happening anymore. And it's not to say that I'm always expecting something back if I'm giving. Absolutely not. It's quite the opposite. I've spent most of my life giving without expecting anything back, and I have now learned where that's gotten me, and how much that actually kicked my ass, and how much that was toxic behavior and was completely out of balance. This is what I've come to realize. And now I've been, the last 2 years, basically trying to reestablish balance in my life. And that's not been easy. That has not been an easy journey. Fuck. But I feel like there's, what else are you going to do? You're just going to keep running from your shit, from your issues, from those deep feelings of sadness and anger that you just kind of pushed down because you were like, I can't deal with this right now, or I don't have the energy to deal with this right now, or, right? Ask yourself, why do I shove down feelings of frustration or anger or sadness? Why do I repress? And what can I do differently to not repress? Yeah, I don't know. Deep insights and deep thoughts. I don't like to be overly serious. I'm not serious really by nature. I'm a very happy-go-lucky person, but I do sometimes realize that I have what society calls toxic positivity, where I just try to push through a lot of my shit without kind of looking at it. And that is toxic positivity, because just because it's buried, it doesn't mean it's not there, right? So now I'm just basically digging. I've been digging for the last 2 years almost, deep within myself, to find those hidden parts that I have shoved down, that I have buried. Yeah, so maybe as an activity for today, this is something that I'm going to do for myself. I would recommend for you to try is write down all of the things that you have accomplished so far in your life. And then write down the things that you still would like to accomplish. This is a great time to set intentions, right? To become clear on what we truly want out of life. And so I'm going to take some time to, I've already been doing that actually for much of the morning, but I'm going to take some extra time now to really get clear on, what's important for me and what kind of an experience I want to have moving forward. Because I don't want to do Dark Night of the Soul for 2 fucking years again. No, I'm exhausted. Inner work is so much fucking work, and people don't realize that, and oftentimes I was judged, by friends and by family, and they're just looking at me from the outside, and they have no fucking clue what I'm actually doing on the inside, right? And how much turmoil and upheaval, when you dig a garden, when you're digging a hole in a garden, all of a sudden everything isn't just going to be prim and proper and perfect around that hole. You're going to have dirt flying everywhere. You're going to have, it's going to trickle out onto everything. And that's kind of the same thing with inner work. It's messy, right? Lee Harris says it so beautifully. Follow him on YouTube and Instagram, guys. He's actually great. And Lee Harris says it beautiful, that life is truly messy and it's complicated and it's weird sometimes, but we just need to be willing to show up in whatever way we're able to, and accept where we are in every given moment. And I'm sharing this because this is something that I've really struggled with for most of my life. Just accept where I'm at. And some days obviously we're good, and other days harder, but to accept, even today, like, oh, I should be flying high, I'm feeling good, and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, I just don't feel like that. Like, can I just honor what I'm actually feeling and just be okay with it and not try to change it, and just maybe journal about it and write some thoughts down, or write down those feelings that are coming up or those thoughts that are coming up, and then just allowing them to move through, and then they won't get stuck. And I don't need to shove it down or push it away. I can just allow it to flow through me. So that's my new moon message, guys, for today. Allow your emotions and your feelings to flow through you today, and be willing to look at the messy parts as you do this digging within yourself and this reflecting, which, by the way, just gonna FYI here for everyone, do it alone as much as possible. So having time to myself has been an absolute gift. I've really needed that to be able to accomplish this 2-year cycle that I've been going through. I'm really actually glad that I did it by myself, that I didn't really have anyone around, because not having anyone around actually really supported me in this process. I was able to support myself in this process because I didn't have to give my energy or my attention to other people. So, and even friends and stuff, I just withdrew a lot of my energy from a lot of people in my life, my family, my friends. It's like I've been in hermit mode for the last 2 years. But like I said, this hermit mode has seriously changed my life. It has allowed me just to go through a process naturally, not forced, not coerced, not anything, just to flow through this process. And flow I did. So that's my message for today, guys. I am sending you my love, and I wish everyone an absolutely gorgeous new moon in Cancer. Get in touch with your feelings and love all of them. Be okay with all of them, and the ones that you don't like that are coming up for you at this time, then write out why it might be coming up for you, and perhaps how would you feel if you could just let it go. Alright, guys, take care. I will see you in the next one.